Spooktober's here, and with every dusk, Eerie Instants unveils a new tale. 31 days, 31 stories. Hit subscribe and journey into the unknown with us. Amid the hustle and bustle of the autumn market, Alex wandered through the labyrinthine alleyways, her camera swinging lightly at her side. Colorful stalls lined the pathways, vendors peddling their Halloween wares, each more gaudy and glittering than the next. But Alex's search was for something distinct, something that would make her upcoming vlog special. A peculiar stall caught her eye, seemingly out of place amidst the modern market setting. It was an old wooden cart, time-worn and sagging under the weight of its goods, manned by an equally ancient stallholder. His weathered face and cloudy eyes contrasted starkly with the vibrant pumpkins he was selling. Drawn inexplicably towards the stall, Alex's gaze fell upon a particularly unique pumpkin. It was slightly misshapen, not like the perfectly round specimens surrounding it. Its deep orange hue seemed to pulsate, beckoning her closer. Without realizing it, she found herself reaching out, fingers grazing its cold surface. "I see you've taken a liking to that one," the stallholder remarked, voice gravelly and steeped in age. There was a hint of hesitation, a shadow of reluctance in his eyes. "It's different," she replied, not taking her eyes off the gourd. "How much for this one?" He named his price, pausing briefly to add, "Be careful with that one. It's special." Alex chuckled, dismissing his warning as a sales gimmick. Money exchanged hands, and with her prized possession, she made her way home, eager to showcase her find. The lights of her apartment flooded on, casting a warm glow against the cool evening. Arranging her vlogging setup, Alex decided on a whim to do a live pumpkin carving session. A notification pinged across her subscribers' devices, and within minutes, her live viewer count began to soar. "Hey, everyone! Look at this unique pumpkin I found today," she began, holding up the gourd for all to see. Comments flooded in, viewers expressing admiration, curiosity, and the usual playful banter. Selecting a carving knife from her kitchen, Alex began her work. The blade sank into the pumpkin's flesh with surprising ease. But then, a deep red liquid began to seep from the incisions. She yelped, dropping the knife, her hands stained with what was unmistakably blood. The chat exploded. Some viewers screamed in capital letters, others expressed disbelief, and a few teased, "Is this a prank, Alex?" Trying to keep her composure, she wiped her hands and laughed it off. "Well, that's a first. Maybe it's some kind of weird vegetable juice, or someone's idea of a prank pumpkin." She continued carving, albeit more cautiously, trying to keep the mood light. The final design was simple, a benign face with wide eyes and a small smile. She showed it off, reading the comments and engaging in light banter with her viewers. The unexpected bleed had added an element of surprise, and her views were higher than ever. Concluding the stream with her signature sign-off and a promise to update them on the pumpkin's progress, Alex leaned back in her chair, unaware of the subtle shift in the carved face as the room darkened and the night settled in. The soft hues of dawn filtered through the gaps in the curtains, casting diffused light over the room. Alex, nestled under her blanket, was pulled from her dreams by the incessant pinging of her phone. With a groan, she reached out, silencing the numerous notifications from her video platform. Sitting up, she quickly skimmed through the comments, a medley of jests, speculations, and a few genuine concerns about the bleeding pumpkin. A particular comment caught her eye. Did anyone notice the pumpkin's smirk at the end? With a laugh, Alex turned to look at the pumpkin on her table. Her laughter faltered. The pumpkin's once innocuous face had transformed overnight into a sly, almost mocking smirk. Chiding herself for being spooked, she started her day, setting up her camera for a casual vlogging session. As she spoke animatedly about her plans for the upcoming Halloween party, an icy draft swept through the room, causing the curtains to billow and her hair to flutter. "Strange," she muttered, checking the windows which were firmly shut. She resumed her talk, brushing off the incident. But as she moved around her apartment capturing various scenes, the shadows seemed to play tricks. Fleeting dark shapes darted just at the periphery of her vision, and whispered voices seemed to echo from nowhere. Later, while editing her footage, she froze. There, clear as day, a shadowy apparition appeared behind her in one of the clips, pointing ominously towards the pumpkin. The whispers she'd dismissed earlier were now distinct, although no words could be made out. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She contemplated deleting the footage, but decided against it. It was real, unedited, raw footage, perfect for her audience. Let them make what they want of it, she thought. The sun dipped below the horizon, her apartment bathing in the soft glow of her fairy lights. A ping notified her of an upcoming live stream reminder, the one she'd scheduled earlier. Drawing a deep breath, she started the live stream, her screen flooding with viewers. "Hey everyone," she began, her voice slightly tremulous. "There have been oddities today." She narrated her experience, trying to keep the tone light and jovial, showing them the recorded apparition. The chat went wild. Speculations ranged from her apartment being haunted to her pulling off an elaborate Halloween prank. As the discussion reached its peak, the lights flickered, casting the room in an eerie dance of shadows and light. And then, everything stabilized. She forced a laugh. Seems like even the lights are in the Halloween spirit. The chat, however, was abuzz with concern, many urging her to end the stream and leave her apartment. Promising to keep them updated, she concluded the stream, the weight of the day pressing down on her. But as she prepared to shut everything down, she froze. The pumpkin's face had shifted once more, this time its carved eyes narrowing, its grin stretching even wider. Feeling an inexplicable dread, she decided to retreat to her bed, hoping sleep would bring clarity. She gave a final glance at the live stream, ending it with a brief farewell to her viewers. As she settled into her chair, she remained oblivious to the pumpkin's face, subtly changing in the dimming light of the room. The morning light did little to lift the heavy mood in Alex's apartment. A stifling sense of oppression hung in the air, every shadow seeming to quiver with concealed malice. The city's usual morning bustle felt distant and muted, as if the apartment existed in a soundproof bubble of foreboding. Alex rose hesitantly, her eyes immediately drawn to the pumpkin. Its once benign face now contorted into a wicked smirk, a perverse satisfaction glowing in its carved eyes. A shiver ran down her spine. This had to end. Grabbing her phone, she quickly posted a notification about a live stream scheduled for later in the day. She'd destroy the pumpkin and document it for her audience. This, she hoped, would bring some semblance of normalcy back to her life. Hours seemed to drag on, the oppressive weight of anticipation becoming nearly unbearable. Every creak of the floorboards, every whisper of the wind seemed laced with sinister intent. Alex did her best to stay distracted, even as her inbox buzzed with concerned messages from fans and friends. As the evening shadows stretched, Alex set up her camera for the stream. The chat box came alive with a mix of concern, excitement, and skepticism. Determined, she addressed her viewers. "Tonight, we end this," she declared, picking up a large carving knife. However, as the blade approached the pumpkin, the apartment's lights began to flicker wildly. Panic coursed through Alex as the room plunged into an eerie darkness. An otherworldly, mocking laughter echoed, freezing her in place. The last thing she felt was an unseen force gripping her, followed by her own voiceless scream. Suddenly, the lights came back on. The pumpkin sat on the table, whole and unscarred, its carved face now twisted into a triumphant and malevolent grin. The streaming camera continued to run, capturing the now empty room. The chat box erupted into a frenzy of confusion and fear.
This can't be
Is
real.
this
Where
a
did
prank?
you go?
Someone call the police.
But Alex was nowhere to be seen. The stream, capturing the silent room and the ominous pumpkin, ran unattended for hours before it was finally taken down. The grim aftermath of the pumpkin's curse was now immortalized, forever haunting the corridors of the internet.